Hi, everybody. I'm here today with Maria Michalczyk. As you know, all of the founders will be recording messages for you, the membership. So first, I want to introduce you to Maria before we get to answering some of the questions. Maria has worked in health as a healthcare professional for 50 years and has recently retired. Maria worked in a variety of professional nursing positions, including senior management, and was responsible for developing and running the medical interpreter program at Oregon Health Sciences University and the medical interpreter training at Portland Community College from 1992 to 2010. Maria was also the branch manager for CVS/Coram Home Infusion from 2010 to 2017. And she has spent the last 33 years advocating for language access for limited English-speaking patients, as noted in the following positions: the ASTM National Original Work Group, developing healthcare interpreting standards. She was a major contributor for SB 790, which became law in 2001 to certify Oregon healthcare interpreters. She was part of the board of directors and a founding member of the National Council on Interpretation in Healthcare, the NCIHC, from 2001 to 2012, and also from 2020 to the present. She chaired the Governor's Council on Healthcare Interpreting in Oregon from 2001 to 2009, was vice president for the National Hispanic Nursing Association from 2009 to 2011, treasurer for the Oregon Latino Health Coalition from 2008 to 2010, commissioner and founding member again for the Certification Commission on Healthcare Interpreting, CCHI, from 2008 to 2011, and healthcare interpreter training director for the Oregon Health Interpreter Association, OHCIA, from 2013 to 2016, and OHCIA treasurer from 2017 to 2020. OHCIA interim president from 2019 to 2020, and president from 2020 to 2022, president emeritus from 2022 to the present, and council member for the Oregon Healthcare Interpreter Council 2022 to the present, and a member of the Billy Irene Odegaard Fund Board of Directors in 2023. She's received multiple recognitions from Governor John Kitzhaber Public Health, the Leadership Award in 2006, the Language Access Award from the National Council on Healthcare Interpreting in 2013, the Oregon Health Authority Language Access Champion in 2013 again, the Sister of Blondine of the Holy Angels from Providence Health and Services, Oregon Healthcare Interpreters Association Lifetime Achievement Award in 2014, and Oregon Healthcare Interpreters Association Language Access Award in 2023. Wow, Maria, so much to be proud of and so much that we can look to as guidance going forward. So, like all the other founders, we have a number of questions that we distributed, and you chose two of them to answer. The first one being, what has been your role in the development of the NCIHC?
Thank you, Ileana. Thank you for having me today. I really appreciate it, and it's an honor. The development of NCIHC, I think that the was before it became its actual actual formal NCIHC was in 1998, but the development before that was, many years in the making before that 1998 meeting that created NCIHC. And so I was actually in several of the meetings before that 1998 meeting. And one of the reasons that I was there is because I was running a very large interpreter service in 1992. and I felt like I needed guidance, and I realized that there wasn't anything out there. And so I went to these meetings, these beginning meetings, just because I thought I need some help. And as a nurse, I really knew that there were standards and codes of ethics and all kinds of things that needed to happen that weren't there. And I tried to call people and it just wasn't happening. So in 1998, when we met and we, the 25 member group decided that NCIHC would be developed, I, of course, jumped on the chance to go to the meeting, not knowing that that's what we were going to do, but that's what we did. And so that after we decided that we were going to be NCIHC, is that then I was part of the development of the organization. I think that the first position that I took was being the chair of organizational development. And at that time, I don't even think people knew what organizational development was, but I really felt that there really needed to be, we needed to have that to get us moving along. So I did that job for a while. And then Wilma Alvarado Little and myself, we were co-chairs along the line. And then later with the NCIHC, I was also then the treasurer. But I've worked on a lot of committees and just basically helping support the mission NCIHC. And during the time that the Code of Ethics and the Standards of Practice were being developed, Wilma and I were both co-chairs at that time. Mm-hmm. And when it was published, and so I would say that I was extremely proud, that I could partake in that and make sure that that development occurred, never knowing that the Code of Ethics would really be the gold standard nationally, and that it would be the document that most people would pick up and use as their guiding light. So I think that maybe my proudest moment with NCIHC are those pieces.
That must make you feel so good inside to realize that the work that you knew and your background as a nurse, realizing how important it is to have these standards and codes of ethics in place before you begin to expand, was a really critical piece, I think, in the initial formation. The other question you were interested in answering was, can you speak about 3 items that propelled you on the path towards linguistic equities?
Yeah, my whole life I have felt that that cultural diversity, equity have been part of me and part of who I am. I am a daughter of an immigrant, and I have always felt passionate about this particular subject. I married a Turkish man, and I learned Turkish, and I embraced the culture. And so again, is that just my whole life has been part of this piece that actually in this country hasn't been embraced, but for me it was just deep in my heart that this was an important thing. And so I always felt that also that the immigration piece was such a foundation to our country, and that all people should be created equal. And I've always felt that. And then when I became a nurse, I went to school at the University of Guam, and I was actually maybe 4 Halis out of the whole class, and everyone else was from Guam or other islands. And so I, again, was immersed in the cultural diversity that was so important and passionate to me, and learning about all the different islands. So again, is looking at the equity and looking at making sure that healthcare was equal for everyone, and it wasn't just for those who spoke English, but for those who also required interpreter services. So it's that passion that I could never go from. And then I became an anthropologist. My master's is in anthropology. And so again, is that it was looking at equity, looking at the diversity, but also the anthropology part is that as a nurse, when I asked to have my anthropology degree recognized by the nursing folks, administration at my university, is they wouldn't accept it. And I fought for that because I couldn't believe that there wouldn't be a match between nursing and anthropology. And so finally they did recognize it. So again, it was that passion of saying, this is not a divided thing. This is not exclusive. It is integrated into our healthcare. It has to be all together. And I fought for that. And finally they did accept it. And then when I got my master's, there was a position available to run and develop the interpreter services at Oregon Health Sciences University. And it was a dream for me. That was my dream job, that I could really make a difference. I was a nurse. I could be able to really advocate. And this was well before now, there's a lot of people that are in healthcare and that sort of thing. But at that time, it was not. And so it was, again, for me to use my skills, to use my history, and to help propel healthcare interpreting and really make it a profession. And that actually has been my lifelong passion, to do that.
It takes heart and soul, as well as talent, intellectual ability, and training. And you have all of those in abundance. So thank you so much, Maria, for sharing a little slice of your life and work with us in order for the membership to really have a good idea of who started it, why they started this organization, and how we can help continue to support it and make it grow. Thank you so much for answering our questions today.
Thank you, Leona. I appreciate it.